Hi, I'm Deepa. I call myself the Creative Mystic, and welcome to my Sacred Art Studio. This is a place where we help you connect with spirit through the spirit guides, use our creative powers to grow spiritually and have an experience with the divine. And most importantly, I want to help you get out of your head and into your heart, because today we're going to share with you the most important thing to strengthen your intuitive abilities. We've been talking a lot about intuition over the last several lives, and Heart Chakra Angel, which is my spirit guide, that's going to be kind of coming through me today. And also there's another spirit guide, which I don't have a portal made of her yet, but it's the Angel of Light. She's been coming to me a lot this week. They want to share with you about how do you get out of that struggle of thinking. Are you a woman, person who is overthinking? Probably high achieving. A lot of overthinkers are high achieving. If you're high achieving, overthinking, this is the topic for you. We're going to talk about, or at least this is what Heart Chakra just told me. We're going to share with you the most important thing. And she said thing when she told me to write the title last week, but I kind of see it as two things, but she said most important thing. So we'll see what comes through as we continue to talk about it, okay? And we're going to be going into sharing, or painting, I should say, this intuitive piece of artwork that I've been working on that is been coming through as a beach scene. So let's get started and actually just invoke in the spirit guides. As you know, if you've been here before, and if you're new, if you've seen this for the first time, this is about creating sacred space, but not just here in my physical sacred art studio, but also in your space. And most importantly, not just in your physical space, but in your inward space, in your inward self. It is about helping to bring forth the divine in you, okay? So I connect with spirit through the spirit guides, and I hope that that you are open and ready to kind of receive this message that the Heart Chakra Angel and the Angel of Light are going to be coming through and sharing with you about the most important thing to strengthen your intuitive abilities. Because everybody has them, but some people, they've kind of atrophied because they don't use their intuition very much. They've atrophied because you don't maybe listen to the intuition, because that's not using it very much, and that's what people don't get. Some people will tell me sometimes, oh yeah, I have intuition, and I get intuitive, messages all the time. And I'll say, oh, well, do you act on them? And they're like, well, I get them from other people, not really from me. And that's the thing that a lot of people have, is that, they can do it for others, and they have more of a challenge than doing it for themselves. And this is about how do you actually create that space so that you can do that intuitive ability, that intuitive messaging for yourself, because you're the most important person. You need to do it for you, because your intuition, your higher guidance. So why the spirit guides are here is they come in a form to help lead you on your spiritual awakening, your path of awakening in your life, so that it can have more ease and flow, so that you can get the higher guidance, so that you're not caught in your little self, in your myopic view of what you believe that you think maybe are truths but aren't. They're here to actually help you overcome that. So we're going to invite them in. We're going to set the tone for what they have to share with you about the most important thing to strengthen your intuitive abilities. All right? So let's just take a moment. And if you can close your eyes and focus on your breath. Taking that deep belly breath while it rises with the inhalation and falls with the exhalation. And as you're breathing in and out at a pace that's comfortable for you, I'm going to ring this bell. And as the bell rings, I want you to say hello. Hello to your spirit guide. Hello to the Heart Chakra Angel. Hello to the Angel of Light. And if there's any other spirit guide or spirit that you want to say hello to be free to say hello to it, okay? And then I'm going to be guided about what to walk you through and let you feel the energy of the bell, because this energy of the bell is the energy of spirit, all right? And we're inviting that in, all right? So take that deep belly breath again, and then exhale, letting it out at a pace that's comfortable for you. And as we ring this bell, we say hello, spirit. Hello to the heart chakra angel. Hello to the angel of light. We invoke thy presence. We allow that presence to come forth. We allow that presence to be awakened within ourselves, body, mind, and soul. And with each ringing of the bell, feel the resonating energy of each spirit guide coming in to bless you with higher guidance, bless you with the blessings of transformation, to bless you with all that you need to let go of what is no longer serving you and to embrace what you are uncomfortable with. And just feel this bell resonating and allowing it to penetrate, to making you receptive to all that the angel of light and heart chakra angel have to bless you with. And as the bell begins to come to a quiet, say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the blessings. Thank you for the guidance. Thank you for the transformation. And they're guiding me to light the ghee lamp. And the ghee lamp, we're lighting it to bring the energies just of transformation. Oops. Obviously there's something. Transformation is being there we go. Being a little sticky, I guess. So we bring in this flame because fire, the flame, helps transformation in this way that on the physical plane we can easily transform something from one form to the other. So just light that to bring the energy of Divine Mother in and the spirit guides. And one of the things they want me to share with you, the heart chakra angel, the angel of light, I thought it was interesting because I've never had that before in an opening where they said about being like blessing you with the ability to, I'm not sure exactly what it was, but do what you're uncomfortable with. And they want me to actually share this with you, that the things that you're most uncomfortable with and you're not willing to do are the very things that actually block your intuition, that block your ability to receive it, that block your ability to think you have it, that block your ability to know it and to act on it. Because when you get higher guidance, you have to be willing to be with that uncomfortability, they're saying. Now, this isn't the most important thing yet. We haven't gotten to that. They wanted me to start with this because they said that often, like, we think our intuitive message, our intuitive guidance, or spirit's going to come in and solve all our problems and make it really comfortable and make it so easy that we don't have to be uncomfortable. And the thing is that they're saying that when you get higher guidance, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be hard, but it feels hard because it makes you uncomfortable. And so you have to embrace, I'm willing to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because once you start to get willing to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, that you can invite things in that you would have never fathomed you could do, that you would have never fathomed that you could receive, that you could have never fathomed that you are this. And so they're saying that you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable before you're going to get those intuitive downloads, that strengthen that intuitive ability. Because the other thing they're saying, in order to strengthen your intuitive abilities, to really strengthen it, you have to be willing to act on things, right? We talked about that, I think, last time, about the fears, the intuitive abilities. If you're on live, please feel free to share. Give a shout out, introduce yourself. Even if you're watching this in the recording, because a lot of people watch it in the replay. Love to see you share, announce yourself in the comments, because this is about helping build community, helping bringing like-minded souls together who really want to grow spiritually, who are on this path of awakening. Maybe you don't have a spiritual home, maybe you do, but you're really wanting to grow your gifts, your spiritual gifts, and grow yourself. All right, so this first thing to really start to practice and strengthen your intuitive abilities is just, this isn't anything other than like an attitude adjustment, Angel of Light is saying. And the attitude is the willingness to be uncomfortable. Like, you get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that she's using me as an example. She's saying Deepa is very willing to be uncomfortable. She's, if something, she has a desire for something, that she, will do it even if it's uncomfortable. She doesn't want me to share this with you. I think it's silly, but like my wife always says that I'm willing to do, like if I have a desire for something, I'm willing to do something that's hard. Like I don't run away from it. And when something's hard, it's uncomfortable, right? And so, and also like when something like makes me go, like when something happens in your life where you don't like it, or you don't really want to do it because of resistance, are you willing to face that? Because that's like, I'll get that, and sometimes it takes me a day or two, or sometimes a week, before I'm willing to like fully go, you know what? I know I'm resisting this. I need to do it. I know I need to like face this and be uncomfortable with it right now. When I first started doing these lives, I was totally uncomfortable with it, because I like to paint privately. I'd like to like do my painting where no one saw, because if I painted it and it was at an ugly stage, I felt like people were going to think I didn't know what I was doing, or I'd been programmed to like lead with my competency, and to only like do things that, or let people see, I should say. I would do all kinds of things, but that I would have to lead with my competency of, after it's done, or after I look proficient at it, to then do it. And so, so that's uncomfortable. And I'm willing to be uncomfortable in the learning stage. And so they're wanting to know that before they get to the most important thing. Because one of the things they're talking about is, the programming that you have is really what keeps you stuck in a paradigm that is something that you don't like. Because we've all been programmed with these falsehoods that come from our parents or families or whatever, and that keeps you stuck. If there's any part of you that doesn't like what's happening in your life, and you've been trying to figure it out, like, how can I get a different result? Or like, how can I make a change? If you're anything like me, I used to be, and I can still suffer from this, but I used to be like a type A personality, where I would go, push, overthink, try to figure something out. If you're like that, I'd love to hear it, in the comments, the shares. But I would sit there and try to figure things out. How can I make this more faster, more efficient? And I would overthink things. And because I overthought things, because of my programming, it wasn't because there's something wrong with me. So if you're an overthinker, if you're somebody who overthinks things, you're a high-achieving person where you'll think it through and figure it out until you get it done, that is not a bad quality, but it doesn't allow you to always hear your intuition. In fact, overthinking is the complete opposite of your intuition, because overthinking is in the head. And this overthinking in the mind, and people think it's like the brain, like your brain has all these answers, and it really only can give you answers from what you already know. It is your intuition, your heart. That's why I talk about getting out of your head and into your heart, that leads you to like higher consciousness solutions. It leads you to actually knowing what's true for you to act on, and that what will help you to be, not help you, will help you be fulfilled, happy, joyful, because it is actually speaking the truth, not from the programming. The brain, the mind, thinks from the programming, whatever came into your subconscious mind. And so you have to work with that subconscious paradigm programming, but also you can change that subconscious mind, that programming. And what I was programmed with was to do what was logical, practical, responsible. You guys have probably heard me say that before, and I'm going to say it again because I'm wondering, they're telling me to tell you this again because they're saying, how much do you make your decisions only by what's logical, what's practical, and what's responsible? Because that will only keep you caught where you are, and it doesn't let you hear or strengthen your intuitive abilities. See, if you want to strengthen your intuitive abilities, you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable so that you'll do something that goes against your programming. Now, this is what they're finally leading me to. They're telling me that one of the reasons is they wanted you to say to you to get comfortable with being uncomfortable is because what makes you uncomfortable is the programming. And that if you can change the program, of which you can, because even though it was put into you from the time you were young, before you could say no, you still have the ability to change it now. And that's the amazing thing. That's why you are a powerful being, powerful beyond measure, because you can make the choice to change it. Now, one of the ways you can change it is to start changing the idea of, like, I'm going to come from my mind to try to figure things out, and actually start to affirm that you're going to come from your heart. You're going to listen to your heart. And that might be something you have a challenge with, because if you're anything about the way I was raised, I was not raised to listen to my heart. And I'd love it if anybody who watches this sees it. I'd love to hear how you were brought up. Were you brought up to listen to what's true in your heart, or what your mind tells you? What you think what you think is logical, what you think you should do, what you think you have to do? Because that's another way of saying responsible. I don't know how many times I hear people say, oh, I should do this, or I have to do it. And the have-tos are never have-tos, and the shoulds are never shoulds. It's about how do you actually make a choice to do what's true for you. And that's not always easy to tell, especially if you're having emotional trauma, or a lot of emotion at that moment, in the sense of ego emotion, where you're upset and mad about something or frustrated, that we tend to make decisions from the subconscious programming rather than our heart's desires, our truth. So they're tapping me on the shoulder and they wanted me to share with you just a story about my mom. My mom has been on something like a roller coaster for me, because she's been literally for the last 3 years, my father will call and tell me she's on death's door, she's going to die, and then somewhere along the line it turns around, okay, and then she's not, and she's getting better, and then it turns back around. But that's 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. It was near closer to the beginning. My father called me and said, oh, Mom's not going to make it. And I had just been out there like about, I think 6 months before, because my parents live in California. It's where I'm originally from. And so my dad called me like saying, oh, Mom's going to probably die in the next week or two. The hospice has told them that she was going to die in the next week or two. And that if you want to see her, one last time, you need to come out now. And I said, okay, well, let me look into things, and see, because I have animals. And I couldn't just leave the animals, alone, and leave a business. And there's a lot of things I had to get into place, like how can I do this? And I, at first, was just going by that emotion of, oh, she's going to die. And I felt like, okay, And then I realized, like, let me meditate on this and get a sense of, like, is it for me to go? Like, is it true? Is it something, or am I going by panic of what my father is saying? And so I sat and I meditated on it, and it came in, like, I feel like, yeah, I'm not supposed to go. And so I called my father and told him that, yeah, I'm not going to go. And the truth was at that time I couldn't find a pet sitter to do it, and I could have gone maybe a lot later, but wouldn't have been in the next week or so. But because I couldn't find a pet sitter, and there were like all these things that were not making it, so I couldn't just up and leave. Okay, so but I could have, like, maybe left, and my wife could have stayed home and I could have gone on my own. But we were going to go together. We were trying to figure it out. But that was not the thing. It was like, is this true for me to go? And I really got a sense of, like, it wasn't. So I called my father and I said, I want to see Mom on FaceTime, but I'm not going to come because it's not working out, is all I said, because he's not spiritual or intuitive. But I could just feel it wasn't the right time. It wasn't for me to go. And so I met with my mom and talked with her, and we had one of the best talks on FaceTime, things were revealed that I'd never known about my mom, all right? Okay, they said she was going to die next week or two. A month later, she's still alive. 2 months later, still alive, and she starts doing better. This was 2 years ago when that happened. So that's where you have to see it went against what was logical, what I should do. But it was the right thing, because I had one of the best conversations with my mom, revealing things that she never told me throughout my life. And so I was so happy that I had not taken that time to sit quietly. So one of the things that strengthens your intuitive ability is to quiet that subconscious programming, to quiet your subconscious mind if you can, okay? Now, meditation is one of the ways. One of the ways you can start to change your programming, you probably heard it, affirmations, right? And you may feel like they don't work. You may feel like they do work, okay? But the programming that you have can sometimes be stubborn for some people if you haven't done the healing work to let it go, where you can have a shift, where you're not hanging on to it because of some anger or frustration, or that you think that, like, you should, like, you have a right to be, because that keeps the grip on you, okay? But I was guided by my angel of light to create a subliminal product that helps you get out of your head and into your heart, helps you start to trust your intuition, trust your heart, because we've been programmed to not trust what we're sensing in our heart, okay? Now, obviously, I'm not talking about your physical heart, I'm talking about your heart chakra, but that truth, that heart, okay? And so if you want to, if you're interested in getting that subliminal product, there's the link you can go to. It's pretty simple. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. It's this one. There you go. Trust your heart. It's guidance. It's a subliminal that plays at night to help change your programming from following the logical, practical, responsible to following your heart, to starting to listen to it, to trust it, okay? Because when you start to trust your intuition, it will go up against what society thinks. Like, I could have been looked at a bad daughter. My father might be looking at me as a bad daughter because I didn't race out there then, but it wasn't my truth to do. And my mom didn't die, so I would have been going out there on the idea she's going to die, and she wasn't. And so you have to go, well, what's true for me? If I had, like, done what my father, every time my father tells me she's going to die, I'd been going out there every, like, 3 or 4 months, because that's how often I get that news, and then it turns around for 3 or 4 months, and then it goes back to that. And so my life would be chaos right now if I followed it all the time. And so I just always check in, following my intuition, following my spirit guides, all right? So feel free to, if that will help you, that's one of the things they said, that you have to work with your programming. You don't have to use the subliminal. One thing nice about subliminals is you can listen to them. Now, this one, they tell you it's best to listen to it with headphones. You can do it when you're falling asleep. You can do it when you're in the car. You can do it in all different places, and it doesn't take like energy, like your effort. Okay, but everything takes energy because you have to be willing to put the headphones on, right? But it's pretty simple. You don't have to sit in front of you become receptive to receive the subliminal affirmations that are put into the music. So you're listening to music that's relaxing. It's a nature sound, and it takes in, okay? So they're wanting you to talk about it from the point of how can you start to work with your programming. Now, if you don't want to do that, like a subliminal audio, this is about helping you trust your heart, to love, to trust your heart, okay? You can create your own affirmations for it. And so they're talking about how you want to feed your mind positive, uplifting things. Because, you know, we've talked about how do you receive your intuition. And one of those things is, you know, and your energy is one of the most important things, right? We've talked about that. We talked about what builds, what drains your energy, and we're going to talk more about what builds your energy. And part of what drains your energy are negative thoughts, limiting beliefs that keep you stuck, okay? So something that can build your energy, that makes you more receptive to intuition, to using your intuitive abilities, is not going up against the programming that tells you not to follow your intuition. Because just about everybody I know has been programmed with follow your brain, follow your mind, not follow your heart. You see signs everywhere that say follow your heart, but when you talk to those people, sometimes, not criticizing them, there are some who actually do follow their heart, but a lot of people will say that, but then they're in a job they don't like, and they continue to stay in that job. That's not following your heart, that's following your mind, okay? So you want to think about those things. Are you doing stuff that is causing your intuition or your intuitive abilities to become weaker, and to go against what your heart says, what your intuition is communicating to you constantly or most of the time? It actually weakens your ability. Never goes away. You always have it, but it's just like a muscle, right? You go to work out, and if you're working out your muscles with weights and everything, they get stronger, but if all of a sudden you stop and you don't do it for 2 years, what happens? It all atrophies. Your muscles don't go away, they just atrophy, right? They aren't as strong. You're not as maybe connected to that your intuition if you don't act on it. And acting on it is one of the ways you strengthen it, because it starts to give you evidence and confidence. See, to help work with your mind that's always trying to overrule your heart, you have to get evidence that shows you, no, this is the right thing to do. Just like with my mother, you know, when I went and didn't go, and I knew like my father probably might not think highly of that act, when I saw she didn't die and we had the best talk ever doing it through FaceTime, I was getting evidence of like I did the right thing, okay? And I knew like following that was the right thing. And so you start to get that sense and that feeling, okay? So I'm going to ask some more about because the most important thing, we're going to get to that here now. So what they're saying that they're talking about is the most important thing for you to strengthen your intuitive abilities is to strengthen your awareness of your energy body, your astral spine, your energy body. If you know anything about the chakras, people call them, their correct pronunciation, I've been taking a Sanskrit pronunciation class, is actually chakras. But everyone calls them chakras, or chakras, and they're actually chakras. And so I'm still working on it because I've had to change an old habit too, because I've said it incorrectly for years, not knowing better. But but I've known about the energy body for years, okay? And you have an energy body, and you want to strengthen the energy in your energy body. And they're saying that when you have strong energy in your energy body, And the part of that strong energy is having an awareness of it, sensing it, feeling it, that it strengthens your intuitive abilities. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to put them up there. I'm going to share with you a little bit more. We're going to get to painting and keep on sharing because they want me to start painting, because part of it, that strengthens your intuitive abilities and strengthens your energy is, well, they want me to share this with you before I start painting. They're saying that you want to work with the 7 major chakras and balancing them, because through being in the world, especially in the world today with all the electronic devices and the EMFs, that they tend to put people's chakras out of balance. You know, the technology, the electricity, all of that can put your chakras out of balance. And your mind can put your chakras out of balance too, because if you're always worried, thinking, trying to figure things out, rather than just connecting with spirit and following your heart, that drains your energy and makes it so that you're more into your mind than your heart. And what strengthens your intuitive ability is the ability to come from your heart, okay? To be able to sense what your energy body is telling you. Your energy body is your intuitive self, your intuition. So they wanted me to, the spirit guides wanted me to talk about how you start to strengthen your energy body. Now, one of the ways I've done it for years is I make the sounds of the chakras at each chakra. So I like the root chakra is the second chakra is third chakra is O, fourth chakra is A, fifth chakra is A, sixth chakra is E, and the crown chakra, seventh chakra is M. So I make those sounds out loud, at a whisper, and silently. So that helps to balance the chakras, and it also starts to raise my ability, it'll raise your ability to feel the energy in your energy body, because you're feeling it in the chakras. Now, in the beginning, you might feel nothing, all right? Now, if you want to learn the whole practice, because besides just sounding making the sounds of the chakras, I also do a Sanskrit chant called the Gayatri Mantra, because what strengthens your intuitive ability is to strengthen your ability of the divine, of being awake, because you are one with the divine, okay? There's no separation. We're all one, all right? We think we're separate bodies, but we're not. But you're one. But what do you have to do? You have to raise your level of awareness to know, to feel it, to sense it. And so I do the Gayatri Mantra, this long version, in the chakras, so that I can start to feel and sense, and I invite in through my prayers the intention of awakening to my divine self, to my God self, to my spiritual self. So you can use whatever word is your higher power, but you start to understand that, okay? Now, I was guided this week. They were guiding me to do like a lot of different things, and one of them was also to do a product that helps you, not helps you, it is gives you the routine. That's an energy routine, and I call it the product the Radiant Sovereign. And because what? We want you to have radiant energy. We want you to have strong energy. We want you to become sovereign in your ability to listen and strengthen those intuitive abilities. And having strong energy, high awareness of your astral body, your astral energy, to sense when things are draining it and when things are building it up, and to stay centered in the divine. That is the ultimate, most important thing that is going to awaken your intuition and awaken your ability to actually act on the intuitive guidance you're getting. Because what helps you get beyond the fear, because remember I've talked about fear is the number one energy drain, right? It's the number one blocker of you actually receiving the intuitive guidance. It's the number one blocker that makes you so you don't act on it because you're caught in fear, is you have to get into the energy of the divine, right? You have to be one. So when you're in that energy, when you can feel that energy has been awakened in your chakras, the fear gets small, okay? So you can get yourself to act when the fear is small. Now, I've shared this story many, many times, but, you know, like I told you about when I first started getting the download to do personal spirit guides. You know, I can see your spirit guides that are around you that are here to help you with manifesting a purpose or overcoming a challenge. And I thought, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. But I've been following my intuition long enough and doing things that were totally illogical to most people, and they thought were irresponsible, but I'm like, I'm not asking you for money and I'm not asking you to do it. You know, that I would do it, that my fear was like this in comparison to, it would have been like, you know, over the moon with, oh my God, I can't do this because it's so big. Because when you get in that much fear, what's happening is your mind is racing. You're in your mind thinking, oh my God, what are people going to think? Oh my God, what if I can't do it? Oh my God. And you just keep with all the reasons why the programming that tells you you should not do it, and you don't act on it. So when you can get into that energy of the divine as you're doing it in your chakras, the fear gets smaller. Even though you might not be fully awake. Like I tell people, like, I'm not fully awake yet. My plan is to be. My desire is to be God realized, enlightened in this lifetime, right? And I keep holding to that. Now I say yet because I go, well, I don't know. I know that I'm much more awake than I was when I started, you know, in that I have more patience, more calmness, more joy, more love, you know, more like understanding of the spiritual truths. So it's about how do you actually do that. And so the Radiant Sovereign itself is the Radiant Sovereign is a video that shows you, teaches you the Gayatri mantra and what to focus on in the chakras as you're doing it. And so it's there to help, you know, help you with that. And so I'd love it if you have any questions about that, to put them in the comments. And we're going to get to painting here because I wanted me to share with you with that too. And now we're going to get to paint. All right. So if you happen to see this, and, you know, I always encourage people, and I forget to sometimes encourage in the beginning, but if you have a form of creativity, I especially recommend painting, to do it with spirit, to do it with the idea of connecting with divine, because that is one of the things that I do when I'm painting. So we're going to do some of this painting of this beach form. This beach form is totally different than the spirit guides. You know, when I do the spirit guides, I kind of do where I tune in to the spirit guide and have the spirit guide lead me in what to paint. And this is just me kind of tuning in to like what I'm getting guided to do, and I do it. But I was just thinking after I shared that saying that this beach scene couldn't be a spirit guide. You know, I have a painting that I called God Rays. Have you ever seen, you know, like you're driving outside and there's some clouds, but the sun is out, and then you see these rays, sun rays coming down, and they are hitting something, you know. And I always feel like, those are God rays coming down and blessing whatever they're shining on. And so I created a seascape with God rays coming down. And that spirit guide, that one hasn't been coming forth a lot, but it's like the God rays, the spirit guide of nature, you know. And I just think of that. I didn't think about that when I was doing this, because I was told to just kind of like feel and sense, to help kind of share with you guys how do you actually start to sense and feel your intuition when you're doing a creative act, because that creative act helps you to develop your intuitive abilities. So that most important thing they're really talking about, and they want me to stress this, is about you creating your strong energy, your strong awareness of your astral spine, your astral body, of those chakras, which is your astral spine, which is your, you know, part of your astral body. And so that helps you to be connected to the divine and your abilities. Now, obviously, what they want me to get you to understand is this most important thing is super important, and you still have to work with the programming. The reason why they wanted me to do both things of creating these two different products, the subliminal to help you with the programming and the Radiant Sovereign to help you with your becoming aware of your energy body and strengthening and balancing those chakras, is because if you have strong energy, but you keep having the programming that stops you, that depletes your energy. Remember we talked about last week about energy draining activities and energy building activities? Well, the energy draining activities, one of them is your programming that goes against the truth in your heart. And so if you start to like get a little bit of, they're telling me, like you get a little bit of sensing of your intuition telling you, okay, you should go do this thing, but it makes you uncomfortable. And you go, oh, well, if I'm uncomfortable, it means I shouldn't do it. That's your programming, right? And so that stops you. And so if you can be working at it from both ends of let's change your programming to start to follow your heart and strengthen your energy, which is the most important thing, because if you have super strong energy, you can sometimes push through. But the programming can be a drain. And so if you can stop the drains, you're going to find you do a lot better. So anyway, let's start painting and see what they want me to do is want me to mix some colors and paint. And mix some paint. So Angel of Light and Heart Chakra Angels sharing with me to, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you have, even if it's like an intuitive question about your own life. They're also asking me to ask you, what's been your biggest challenge with following your intuition, acting on it? Is it you get some but you don't act on it? Is it you just feel like you don't get any downloads and you don't know what they are? Because they're asking me to ask you that, because when you actually know what your biggest challenge is, it usually is an indication of where you should start. Like they're telling me if one of your biggest challenges is you're in fear all the time, which is fear is overthinking. They're telling me this. I've never even thought about that till now, but when you're someone who's fearful a lot, even if you don't identify as someone who is as an overthinking, maybe high achieving person like that, and you don't identify as somebody who's been in your mind, they're telling me to tell you if you are fearful a lot, if you worry a lot, then you're overthinking. This is like aha for me. I never even thought about it. If you're in your mind a lot and you're worried, and then you're overthinking. Fear only comes from overthinking. Now, overthinking can look like they're saying like Deepa used to be an overthinker who would figure things out, and she would find these amazing ways to make things better, to make them more efficient. And I kind of prided myself, they wanted me to share this, in overthinking. I didn't think about overthinking, it was overthinking. I prided myself in that I could figure things out, that I always had a way that and I still to this day am a very good problem solver. Like I know I have solutions for things. But they're saying if you're worried or trying to figure things out frequently, then you're an overthinker. If you have fear a lot, you're overthinking. And so, and I don't know why they're telling me to say this, but maybe someone's going to watch this who has this problem. If you're somebody who has an ulcer or some kind of ailment like that, that means you overthink. Because ulcers come from, yes, maybe what you're eating, but also that you worry. And sometimes people worry and they don't even know it, like it's in the background. And they're telling me that they want me to share this too, that when I was very first on the spiritual path, I found my Buddhist path, and I was just, at that time, I would only do my Buddhist chanting. And then I found meditation a few years later, and I started doing both. I started chanting and meditating. But before that, I had gone to a physical therapist that I had a shoulder problem, and I was going to the physical therapist for the shoulder problem. And one day I came in, because I'd been going there for like several weeks, and the woman came up to me, and she takes her hands, I gotta take my gloves off to show this, and she's in front of me standing there, she pushes on this side and pushes on this shoulder, she pushes them down, she says, relax, and I'm like, what? You know, I'm like, what? And she said, relax. And I couldn't figure out why she was telling me that. Because she says, your shoulders aren't supposed to be up by your ears. And I said, no, I'm just made that way. Okay? And then, lo and behold, I started meditating. So I didn't know this, okay, when I was younger. This was like when I was in my early 20s. Before I started meditating and everything. And so, but then shortly after that experience, I started meditating, okay? And after I was meditating, I happened to walk by a mirror, and I happened to notice that, oh, my shoulders were lower, because the meditation helped me to learn how to focus and be calmer. And I never realized that all the tension in my body was from me being like worried about something that I wasn't consciously aware of. Like I was worried about, I was always like focused on what I was doing to be successful, but I wasn't focused, I wasn't aware that in the background there was a worry that you know, like I wasn't going to do a good job, or worry that, but because I was so focused on completing the task at hand, completing the thing. And so if you have a lot of tension, what they're saying, that means that you're overthinking because you're worried about something. Tension is stuck energy. It's a sign that that there's some kind of worry that you have. Because tension, I mean, unless you've had an injury, physical injury, the tension comes from your thoughts that create tension. And so you can start to see that this idea of fear and other things, how it kind of disguises itself as things that we just think are really normal, right? We think tension is normal. I mean, in fact, a lot of people have come to think that stress is just normal. Like you know, it's, that, oh, that's life. And yes, there are certain things that are going to be stressful, but a lot of what we create in our lives, we create the stress through our thoughts. It's got nothing to do with, like, something fell on my foot, and that's just created a lot of stress because now my foot really hurts, you know, and I'm limping. We create stress through our thoughts. And so the spirit guides want you to get that all of that fear, worry, and overthinking is going up against. So what you have to do is, they're saying if you want to start with some place, if you're not ready to really work on all levels, to start with your mind first by working on reprogramming your subconscious mind. either through your own affirmations or through the subliminal that I offered up there. I know it's not up there now. I'll put it up there now again. Yeah, unfortunately, you cannot put two things up at once. But here's the other one again. Wait, oh, it's already, I ended up talking a lot more than I thought I was going to today. But it's funny because I was I was tuning into this painting more as a spirit guide rather than just as a beach scene. And all of a sudden, I got this thing of like, I'm mother of the beach. And it's about, she's saying it's about how do you like connect with your beach within. And I'm not even sure what she means by that, but she's talking about it like, I mean, oh, I'm getting it now. She's saying, like when you go to the beach, what do you often go do? You go there and I mean, when you're a little kid, you go there and you probably play on the beach, but you're in your energy of creativity. But you're also, if you're an adult, you go there and what do? You relax. You kind of take your moment to like, ooh, let me like, enjoy the nature. Let me see the beauty. Let me bathe in getting the good feelings that you get from being at the beach. So your inner beach is about how do you like do that yourself. Maybe you can't always go to the beach, but you can go to the beach within. So one of the things that heart chakra is saying is, we talked about the most important thing you can do for your intuitive ability is to start to notice or become aware. It was the word, become aware of your astral body, your 7 major chakras, and inviting the divine in. And I talked about that practice that is in that you can start doing, which is the sounds of the chakras and then the Gayatri mantra, focusing it on the chakras. And they're wanting you to really look at what your spiritual practices are, and are they speaking to you, they're saying. Because they're saying it's important that you do ones that speak to you. And only you can determine that, they're saying. Like, are you feeling fulfilled spiritually? And if you are, yay. But if you're not, because that's one of the things about being on the spiritual journey is like, how do you keep it fresh? How do you keep it so that you're not just doing things out of habit? Because one of the things I learned on my Buddhist practice years ago, to not live life as a habit. And that takes energy, takes awareness to not live life as a habit. And they want me to share with you a little bit about that, like that. Like, are you living life as a habit? Because life as a habit is not going to get you the growth that will bring you to your awakening, to the level of success that you truly, truly want. So whatever that success is not always about money. Often people think it's about money, but it's not always about money. It's often about, like, are you having the success in the spiritual growth that you want? Are you having the success in like how you're living your life? Like, do you wake up feeling joyful? Or do you wake up feeling like, just another day? And they're saying, like, you don't want to wake up just another day. And that was the one thing about my Buddhist practice when they said, don't live life as a habit. When that happened, I started to live life started to chant for that, to not live life as a habit. And, well, my whole life blew up. At the time, it seemed like gee, be careful what you chant for, is what I thought for a moment, but it wasn't actually. I had a momentary, like, wow, I wasn't expecting this. But then after it happened, I could see, like, how everything was so much better that I didn't even realize before that I was doing things in my life. Well, I wasn't doing a lot of the things in my life because of the habit I had of, well, codependency, I guess is the way to say it. Because when I would be I was in a relationship where the person was a lovely person, but I wouldn't do things because they couldn't do them with me, or they wanted to do them with me, but they couldn't do it with me because of whatever their ability was, and I wouldn't do them. And so when I started to I started chanting rather, to not live life as a habit, that's when I stopped. I say that things really changed in my life, and for the better. But at the time, when it first happened, I was like, wow, I wasn't expecting this to happen. Yeah. I'm not getting anything else. Does anybody have questions or anything? If anybody's a question on from spirit guides or anything that was said earlier, if you've been on, if you heard it, if not, I'm just curious about the thing that you find is the most important thing for your intuitive ability. Have you had any sense of, is that what it is for you? Obviously, the spirit guides are talking about what universally, but we're all wired slightly different. Huh. I didn't paint as much as I normally do, but time flies, especially when you're having fun. So, drop all this down. Again, if anybody has any questions, please share them in the comments. Any shares, I'd love to hear what you do for your energy body to become aware of it. And if you have any questions about the 2 products that the spirit guides had guided me to create for you, excuse me. And if you are interested, feel free to click the link. And other than that, if nobody puts up a question, I'll be wrapping this up in a few minutes, but I'll give it a minute to see if you have any questions. I'll check in one last time just to see is there any other messages from the spirit guides. The last thing they're saying, wasn't even expecting this, was in all this process of doing things, becoming aware of your energy body and sensing it, the one thing too that's going to really help with this most important thing of practicing the becoming aware of your energy body is the practice of self-love. They were really telling me that you got to love yourself, like with all your faults and all the emotions and everything that you have, you got to love yourself. And then if you can really practice the art of loving yourself, that you'll begin to get more in your heart too, okay? And that what prevents you from knowing your heart is the condemnation that you do. They're saying, like the self-condemnation. They're saying that when you put yourself down, or you condemn yourself, or you say things that like call yourself stupid, or think you did a crummy job, that usually most people say, a lot of people say, oh, I'm my harshest critic. And it's about, they're really wanting you to let go of being that harsh critic. Like, how can you do whatever job you do and let go of the judgment of whether it's good or bad? Because they're saying that the fact that you did it, the fact that you attempted, that makes you this amazing being, that you are willing to give it a go, okay? And so that to just praise yourself for the effort. Because the people who aren't willing to even try, they're the people that really get stuck and in misery. But if you're willing to try, if you're willing to do it the best that you can wherever you are right now, and love yourself, even though maybe you did a crummy job, that's the most important thing. And that's something I'm working on. When I got when that word said about let go, self-love and self-condemnation, and those are things I'm working on, that in my journey of awakening is to let go of that critical voice, that harsh voice. So no comments or questions or shares. So I'm going to be wrapping it up. Okay, and that was the last little message. We will be on next week. I'm not sure what they're going to want me to talk about, but I'm going to tune in between now and next week. But we will be on next Thursday. What's that date? I'm not sure what that date is. Thursday, 3:30 Eastern, the usual time. And I always look forward to doing the live with all of you who watch this, whether you're live or watch it in the replay. All right? Blessings to you all. Have a miraculous day. Take care.